Hey guys, this is Andreas here with our seventh Ed Talk and our seventh discussion. I will be going over teaching standards, how to blend Common Core state standards into secondary instruction, and we will be going over part three of the text. Um, what I really liked about part three was especially chapter 9 in which it talked about at-risk students and how we can kind of deal with them as far as Common Core state standards. They defined an at-risk student is kind of defined into like 3 or 4 categories. Maybe a children who lives in unstable families and communities, a child who is unsuccessful in meeting school-based standards, children who have external locus of control, and children who just have limited or a grim notion of the future. And this chapter kind of talks about how we can help those students and how we can kind of motivate them to do well in school, which is something that is really relevant with my own instruction as an educator because that's something that I'm always not struggling with, but always want to try to keep up with my students. It talks about classroom management and how we can use classroom management to help our at risk learners, making sure that while we are managing our classroom in a way that is effective for us, we are also keeping in mind that some of these students have difficulties either with authority or teachers in general. So always keeping in mind how we can kind of adapt our classrooms to their needs. Um, Another thing that I really liked was just how we can motivate these students to do well using Common Core state standards, and we can do that by engaging them with instructional strategies that aren't just very basic and very boring, that are going to grab their attention, that are going to let them really sink in with what we were trying to teach them. Going back to the beginning of this section, in chapter 8, it says, "How will we use what we know now?" And what I thought was really cool, and that something I do a lot of as well, is it asks us to reflect on our lessons and how we did, and to look back and to say, okay, what worked and what didn't. And as teachers, it is important that I mean, every single day that we get up there and try and teach, it's a trial and error. You go up there and something could work really well one day, and then you could try that a different day and it just could not work. So as teachers, it's important that we know what we know by reflecting back on how we're doing in class, how our students are learning, and kind of the overall um, result of what our instruction is. The last part of this book goes over Common Core standards, assessments, and rubrics, and it generally highlights just what they're meant to do and what assessments are, and how we can use rubrics for the Common Core state standards, to overall kind of help us out. And then it goes into giving up some samples for English language arts and an idea of how you can kind of score people. Because ultimately, teachers, we shouldn't just be coming up with how we're going to grade students off the top of our head. We need to be very specific and knowledgeable about what we are grading them on and how we are grading them. But overall, I enjoyed learning about the Common Core state standards and realizing how they are really crucial right now to helping our students, even though I believe in the future we'll be changing to a brand new system. But as of now, it's important that we use these standards in a way that will benefit our students and benefit our overall instruction.